This is a UK high street. This is also a UK high street. This used to be a UK high street. This one's a retail park. But the question remains, what the f*** happened to gaming on the high street? I'm just going to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane this week in the video and having a look at gaming on the high street. I've seen quite a lot of folk do these days of videos. We did have one lined up in the summer that unfortunately never made it to the channel. But I'm in Glasgow and I'm going to check out a few places. We're starting Frasers because I don't think the main sports direct up here has a game section. I think we have to go into Frasers to get the game section. I'm going to hit up a couple of places. John Lewis, then I'll leave the city, head out to Smith's and probably Big Curry's and see what they've got out there. But it's more to highlight some of the nostalgia that's missing from the shopping experience, especially at Christmas time, when potentially non-gamers are actually looking to buy parents, grandparents, etc., and how difficult that might be without proper game shops that we used to have. And I'll look at some of the lost gems of the high street, particularly for those in the west of Scotland. There might be a couple of shops, but yeah, straight away into Frasers and let's see what we can find. So in terms of physical size, it's a real bad concession compared to a wee elsewhere. The obvious thing that stands out is that wall there is all your corporate games, and everything else is the rest of the stuff. Now, I really hope I don't get dinged for copyright because I've got the whole place to myself basically. I can actually film, but like, okay, fine, kids stuff, kids audio, lights, fine. No one's buying Gogi lights and sports direct or Frasers when you can buy them on Amazon. Getting bothered to the house. Search the prices, it's just I don't get it. Funko Pops. Of course, there's Funko Pops. But again, like, there's better places even in Glasgow to buy Funko Pops. Where I've been planning, I've got a massive selection. But actually, okay. In terms of brand, I've seen a Rocket in a game for a while, but the rest of it's just the same stuff you get anywhere else. Again, better shops for stuff like that. But the obvious thing that stands out in here is that is your selection of games. For Switch. And then the main wall. Like, again, no one actually selling. So, whatever happened to the experience of actually getting into picking games? Like, we all remember what game used to be when, you know, you could get into a game with 20 quid, try and pick up a new game or a second-hand game or whatever and have something to play. Whereas now it's like, why even bother? Like, if you want the game brand new, you get it on Amazon, it's easier. It makes it easier, it makes it more sense. Like, there's just nothing in here worth picking up. I'm going to try my absolute best in this video to be as balanced as possible because I've just messaged Ross to say that we might need to think about some post-production talking to camera bits because I've just spent the last couple of minutes on game and Frasers ragging on it, and I don't just want this to be 15-20 minutes of me ranting about the state of everything, because as much as the high street feels dying or dead, that's not just the case for gaming. But we're in a kind of boom period when it comes to other aspects of gaming. In this video we won't be going to CX, which I know seems unusual, but that's not the purpose of the video. We do that often enough. And obviously I'm unfortunate to live close to Forgotten Worlds. There's a great retro store, but that's not what this is about. It's Christmas time. You've got parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, people who don't normally get involved, potentially buying for their wains and their children, for anyone that's not for Scotland, their kids, grandkids, other family members, and won't know where to go, won't know what to do. And you saw in Frasers there, not a single staff member anywhere near that game concessionaire, or what I call it. I'm going to call it a shop. And even if there was, it would just be a staff member. It's not like it used to be when you had gamers staff in these stores. providing actual help, actual advice, advising, who knew about games, knew about the product, to talk about games. It's that bit that's missing. I'm just trying to make sure everything else in is doing this video, and also take routes that allow me to record without being too busy. But yeah, I'm going to go and head round to a forgotten wonder of the Glasgow High Street. And this is the other thing about being balanced. This is Glasgow, Scotland's biggest city. It should have the biggest shops, should have the best shops. If I get time later on, I'm going to show you what a high street would look like in a normal town, which had a culture, a gaming culture back in the day, and doesn't have it anymore. Including two stalwarts that I miss. Now, at least according to internet, 77 Union Street used to be G-Force Gaming, which was essentially legendary in the Glasgow gaming scene. Okay, so I'm heading further into the city, but I did want to try and jump in here and just reminisce a little about the good old days. And I do worry this video's going to turn into a mixture of me ranting about the current state of gaming on the high street and reminiscing a bit of a love letter to what it used to be. And it's hard to tell if that's just nostalgia, because that was childhood essentially for me, for Ross, for the rest of the guys, and for a lot of other gamers. Ultimately that's what we used to do, is just go into town, buy a game, go home and play it. The G-Force had a bit of a community feel before the word community blew up on social media to mean something completely different. But it was never quiet, at least when I remember. And I'm trying to think if it shut before COVID. I don't know, it was around 6 years ago. But it was competitively priced. It was at the time just up the road, up the street from the sort of original best game station in Glasgow, which later became Game, and that's an entirely separate topic altogether. But game station, that was elite back in the day. You get fair prices on pre-owned games as well in there. And the thing is, everybody here would know, or certainly MD in Glasgow and the west of Scotland would know, a couple of days before new games were released, you could go in with cash. If you're happy with no receipt, you could get the game early. I'd love to know, do a bit of research for this video and try and find out exactly what happened to the shop. Or not closed, or some money issues, and think perhaps a shop like that, COVID would have been the death knell anyway. But it also reminds me of the old game centre and the Forum in Irvine, and eventually in Irvine High Street, and the same in Kilmarnock. I don't know, I know we've got a couple of people that are in there sure that watch the videos and get involved, so I mean, again, is it nostalgia? But I'd have put that place up against anywhere. I'd argue that would be one of, if not the best, independent game shop in the country. That is my childhood. Getting the bus over from where I used to live, where I grew up, into the Forum with a tenner in it with 3 or 4 games, and that would do me for a few months. And that's, hopefully we're intertwining this with some pictures, if I can find any online of these places back in the day and what they meant. Again, Game Centre, one of the places that was ahead of the time. Like, I remember getting Pokemon Gold, or it being available, Gold and Silver. The US/international version's been available in there long before the words would have been released in the UK. That's all gone, completely gone. And even this bit just now, I'm in the high street. I've done Frasers. I'm getting so, which is Game. I'm going to go to John Lewis, and that's it. I'll head out to Smiths and Curry's, but do they really count as a high street these days? But what I would like is, drop something in the comments and let me know what you think about your local high streets and what gaming looks like, because maybe it's just me being bitter in my old age. In this week's episode of Old Man Yells at Clouds, what even was that? This might need to be done in post-production, because I think if I try and do it now, A, I'm listening to card ringers, and B, I'm just going to lose my shit. But interesting to know what we think happened first, lack of games or death of being able to buy games. Because if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll notice that I went back to collecting the PS2 and I'm collecting all the old WWE games, which again's like, it's a weird one as a collector because I'm just collecting annual releases, which I don't know, man. When was the last time you played a game and you're like, wow, I did not expect this to be that good? I'm probably going back to something like Sleeping Dogs and LA Noire in terms of, and even then both are made by massive studios. There's no reason not to be good, but everything else is like disappointing these days. You look at Black Ops 7 for sale there for 60 quid and John Lewis, and Activision had to come out and release a statement saying we know it's shit and we're really sorry. I don't know, maybe, I mean obviously I've moved to PC gaming most of these days, so everything's sort of Steam and Epic Store, but it can't just be that. Is it just digital rights management? Because the consoles went the same way I suppose, but so far it's not looking good. That shop used to be Game. In fact, it only stopped being Game a few months ago. No, candy shop in the corner. Now it's a front for legal reasons. It's not a front for anything. It is just a shop. Yeah, I've managed to get away from the buskers and the music, so I can actually record this bit. But I actually totally forgot about HMV. But what I've shown you there was just the one stand in the window of new games. That was it. And again, doing this sort of trip down memory lane, I'm sure most of us remember the old Xavi and HMV top of Buchanan Street, which had 3-4 floors, a whole load of games, and even had, I'm sure it had that gaming arena. I want to say there was sim rigs as well, but I remember the gaming arena up the top floor. It's just mental how much everything's fell to shit in the last decade or so. And then the big Sports Direct on Argyle Street did have a small games area, but considering I just spent the first bit of this video shitting on Sports Direct / Frasers and Frasers anyway, there was no point in filming and going back through it. It was also really busy. But it just highlights how far we've fallen. Glasgow used to be king for gaming. I just walked by Argos in the centre of Glasgow. I don't even get a bother, because most Argoses these days are now confined to the corners of Sainsbury's, which I guess saved it and kept it available, but that's not really the point. The point is places we can go and physically comb through games and see them and look at deals, and the good old days of comparing brand new to pre-owned and saving a bit of money, all that kind of stuff. Argos has always been looking at a book and go and pay for it and somebody else brings you it. It's not quite the point that we're trying to get to here. I'm just going back to the car, parked out in the subway station and did the park and ride, but I don't want to finish the video here. I want to go to Smith's and possibly Big Curry's and just complete the cycle. I know they're not really a high street, but I think they should still be included as part of this video. But you know, you can see the disappointment I've had all throughout in the city of Glasgow, and that is a city. That's a big city. This isn't a normal high street like the town I currently live in. Irvine used to have a great local gaming culture. And I've mentioned Game Centre before. It had a good game at one point as well as really well stocked supermarkets, and it's just all gone completely. And we are really holding out hope that these retro stores that are popping up, and hopefully they can continue business and we do support them. So before I head to these places, I'll just ask that message, is that everybody continues to support the local gaming stores, and if you've got any independent game shops left, not always, not just about the retro ones, but any local game shop, then drop them in the comments, let us know, and we'll try and make sure we support them whenever we're travelling around these areas. Right, so I know Curry's probably doesn't count as a high street, but we're here and we're going to see what they've got. I mean, I know it's largely disappeared for the high street now, certainly what used to be Dixon's, but as you can see from what happened in the city, it's slim pickings, so I just want to make sure that we've covered all bases for the video. So it's probably worth being fair and saying that we are up and over looking at console gaming in this video. and it's not great, is it? It's largely the same, like no real games. Everything's, at least they've got the boxes out for the consoles, and they've got accessories and headsets and stuff, but certainly in here you're doing better when it comes to, oh, there's a Rogue Alley. Did anybody bother to ask for that? When you see the boxes, you don't see prices on them. I'll be interested to see what people think. I mean, I was quite looking at the keyboards and stuff, but that's nice. I'm 65. I do need a new keyboard. As well as saying, when it comes to the curries, PC wise, it's pretty good. And PC gaming wise, it's not too bad. You've got monitors, you've got desktops, you've got accessories everywhere in here. And you've got a lot. Try to see what we've got. If anyone watches, this is a bit of a whiz when it comes to monitors. Give me a shout if I didn't upgrade mine this year as part of my office. So that looks not a bad deal there. It is always worth checking when it comes to these. Usually anything that's sitting out in curries is for quick sale. Get it going. Oh, that's nice. Can you really game on that though? Or would that be an editing monitor? And yeah, as I've said, PC accessory wise, that is a decent shop. I mean, at least it lets you try stuff out. If you don't buy it in here, you know, you can come in and play with the mice, play with the keyboards, try out headsets before you buy in. So the overall verdict when it comes to curries, and again, as I've said when I was in Glasgow, this is got the big curries in the west of Scotland anyway, rather than just your normal kind of half-size retail park ones, is if you're buying PC accessories for gaming, you don't know that. Always a good selections, always a couple of deals on. I know I got my last mouse in there in half price, although after about 8 months it's still those 40 bits. But again, PC, you're not buying games in shops anymore, you're buying them online, you're ordering through Steam, so it just adds to the fact that buying games is just, it's a lost art. And yeah, I've already mentioned Argos, but we're not doing that today. Last thought's going to be Smiths. I'm not going to lie, I'm just looking at the Smiths. It's like sports direct, but just slightly bigger in terms of what they've got. Let's take a look. I mean, it's just the same games. I mean, that's obviously PS4, Xbox One. I should have bought that. That was 15 quid the other week. I should have just picked it up for the old WWE collection. I mean, if we're still selling Xbox One and PS4 sections, we thought there's a lot on the channel. What chance have we got about moving gaming forward? I mean, I'm a big fan of the cable guy stuff. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Switch One stuff phases out, considering that most people have figured out you can buy games on the Switch One and then pay like the upgrade fee to Switch 2, and it's cheaper than buying it on the Switch 2. I mean, imagine seeing a Call of Duty game discounted that much pre-Christmas. PS4, PS5, and cross-gen on the Xbox. It's almost two prices as well. Switch 2 seems to have a lot of games out already for it, after being quite critical in the summer. Is that a console worth picking up? This is the bit that a lot of other places are missing. By the way, that's currently free with Prime Gaming on PC. mean, that was Smiths. And I mean, I don't know what to say, to be honest. Maybe it's different if you're in and you're like, I really need to go pick up an Xbox or a PlayStation. But Ross and I done a video months ago, and I'll stick it up here somewhere. We actually basically said that unless you're really fussed the box, and even then you can't get the box, you should buy your consoles and that for CEX, just because the 5-year guarantee, 5-year warranty is quite hard to grumble at. Now, I know it's different come Christmas time. If you're buying for your kids, you'll buy brand new, so fair enough. If that was the case, John Lewis thing comes in and talks to you and extended 2-year warranty, or buy direct from the manufacturer. I know that some people do like the whole high street thing of having someone to take it back, so we're kind of saying that, like, did we as gamers kill gaming in the high street? Or did it lead us down that path? We're going digital first. We're going to head back to the office, and Ross and I are going to pull our thoughts together. So as you can see, we are back in our respective offices, and we've just spent the last half an hour scrubbing through the footage. Ross, I'm interested to get your immediate raw thoughts on what I picked up the other day in Glasgow, because we had a hypothesis and a theory of how it was going to look. So how does what the actual reality of, again, big city Glasgow look like versus what we thought about gaming in the high street in 2025?
Yeah, we thought that it was going to be rough, and we thought that it wasn't going to be very easy, certainly from the experiences that we've had recently, but I think it was probably a little bit worse than what was expected. When you look around some of the shops that we knew game was bad, there's something that we spoke about more than once on the channel before, so that wasn't surprising. Maybe John Lewis as a whole was a real surprise. I would have expected a couple of cabinets. There was, as you showed, one. I actually confirmed this the other day when I was in John Lewis and seen the same thing, and I too was stunned at how bad that was. Like, yeah, there was the odd surprise, like the fact that there is a sort of deals bucket, if you want to call it that, in Smiths, but I don't think every Smiths has that, for example, but, you know, it's good that some of them have that. But on the whole, I really feel for anyone who is a parent or is a relative of someone trying to get a present for them this Christmas in person rather than relying on just what you read online. I would be interested to hear what you thought actually strolling the streets yourself. Like, obviously, you were doing a good live commentary of it at the time, but, like, retrospectively, how did it line up? Like, are we at, like, code red here?
I can maybe even say that it was arguably slightly better than what I expected, more so because in the build-up to it, as the pessimist that I often can be, was very much like, I'm in Glasgow somewhat regularly. I am always in and out of these shops, just poking my head in. I'm in Sports Direct down in Irvine quite a lot, and this is something that I'll put in the video. This is Glasgow, and I've just said it 2 minutes ago. This is Glasgow. This is Scotland's biggest city, Scotland's main shopping city. And that's what I saw in 6 hours. And even then, the last two places I had to leave the city. And again, we can debate whether Braehead area counts as Glasgow, and Linwood certainly doesn't for Smiths. But that's the reality of the situation. And I mentioned it in the video, and I didn't actually get the chance to finish the video off how I wanted to. But I wanted to go back to the retail park down Riverside, the Riverway, and be like, this is what we have in game. Also, that used to be Blockbuster, and then do a whole reminiscence about Blockbuster, but that could be a whole video itself. And there's just something missing. That used to be where we went, you know, we talked about it before, Friday nights, drive over after work, or get the train over or the bus over and pick up some pre-owned games and DVDs, and there's popcorn and ice cream, and we had McDonald's, and we had Tesco for our big picture snacks, whatever, and that was us for a few weeks set. And that's the bit that's missing to me. Like, I went into this with the whole concept of, okay, as a parent, I'm a gamer and I'm lucky. But if I was a parent of a non-gaming parent of a child who was like, I want a PlayStation, I want this game, I want that game, I'd be like, there's nowhere to go for help. There's no one to really ask questions about. And even, and again, I say it in the video, like, if you go into Frasers, there was no one in that area serving. There was no one in that area who would have been like a gamer with knowledge of product or games or whatever. Like, if you were going in there and saying, look, I'm buying a game for my grandson, he's 10 years old, I've got 30 quid to spend, what do you recommend? You know, that's you're not going to have that conversation anymore in these shops. And then the whole community aspect and midnight, the whole video and midnight releases, it all ties together. Like, it's a culture thing, and maybe, and this is why I've just thrown in the edit of like, oh, now he's a philosophizer. But like in my head, I'm going like, is that us, or is it gaming that's done that to us? Because you and I are diving into the nostalgia right now really heavily and buying up games that we played when we were younger and going back around them. Is that because that's our new interest, or is that because we feel like, well, there's nothing else to get excited about? We're lucky if we get one game a year. That's like, oh, I must pick this up and play it. And
yeah,
maybe there's a series here, because we've dabbled in these topics over the last few months, and maybe there's a follow-on series where we do. And I'd be interested to hear any feedback from any viewers of this video on the style. This was very much going to be a talking heads, sitting here in front of the camera, Ross and I going back and forth, but we decided that I had the day off, and we would try and do it with live commentary. We're not making this up. This is genuinely, literally what we're seeing on the high streets right now. Avoiding CX, because we do enough videos on CX, and it's again Christmas time. Parents and grandparents will buy new. At least that would be my experience. So I'm interested to know what you guys think. Did this video work? Is it something you'd like to see more of? If we were going to go and do trips down memory lane, again, really interested to hear from any viewers in the west of Scotland who did frequent GeForce Game Centre, these types of places. Probably saw you in there at some point, let's be honest, back in the day, because I was never at a Game Centre in the forum in Irvine. And also, another plea to, if you have any good local gaming stores, let us know, shout them out in the comments. Maybe somebody else will see them, pick up, help support them, because yes, there's some really good retro game stores on the rise and it is booming, but all it's going to take in the market is a big dip, and suddenly these places will start to disappear for the high street. So I'd love to support them when I'm travelling for work, as you've seen from recent Birmingham videos, I often do. So yeah, drop us a comment on anything like that. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's helping us massively. We are seeing nice numbers boosts every week, and we're getting some really good feedback on the content that we're putting out there. So we're hoping to keep doing it, hoping to keep it growing. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on gaming in the high street this Christmas, and also where you recommend we check out in future. Take it easy, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.